talked a lot about how much smoother touring and writing have become with only 2 or 3 members, but what are some of the difficulties you face with such a reduced number on stage? What have been some of the songwriting challenges faced with only 2 writers?
As far as songwriting, there really is no challenges with it because it's always been mainly 2 writers. Yvonne and myself have pretty much done the writing from day one. In the early days, we did more of a full band approach, but we found it easier this way. And these days, Mundane has been adding more input with his bass and writing his own bass lines. But generally, that's not an issue at all for us. Touring-wise, there is no downside. Well, I guess I miss the feel of live drums live. How many times can I say live in a sentence, live? But, you miss some of the power from the real drum set. You miss some of the effect of having the kit up there. But really, that's the only downfall. It's been smooth as can be. The drama on tour has been much less because it's 3 people who know each other and work well together. There's more room in the van. All around, it's a good thing.
Okay. Up until recently, you were on the Sonic Angel label, which is, of course, owned by Praga Khan. What were some of the advantages of being on that label, and why did you leave?
Well, the advantages were that it was the first label to do the basically like the Kickstarter thing, but it was with fan investments where they bought shares and they made money back off your sales. So they get to help with the process happening, and then they get to make a little profit off of it. And that's what we loved about it. And Praga is very passionate about the platform and how they were going to do it. Unfortunately, the reason we left is because they signed us as the first U.S. band, and they had a lot of big plans. But when it came down to it, they couldn't get their U.S. plans in place, and we were basically left to doing it on our own like we always have been anyway. And they weren't really providing any help whatsoever. So we just told them, if you get it set up and you can do it again, give us a call, but we're going to leave now. We're going to do this on our own.
That makes sense.
Instead of paying them to do what we're doing.
Right. So. All right. What has been your worst live experience?
Worst live experience? Oh, God.
Tell me about a horrible show.
This is a tough one because I don't know. I mean, I guess I never really look at them as horrible because even if one person shows up, we always say, it's 1 or 1,000, we give the same show.
Sure.
And we've never really had any major stage disasters. We've never had equipment go out and screw up the show, or we've never had the backing tracks fail or anything like that. I mean, I guess I really don't have a show I'd consider horrible or like that.
Any bad experiences on the road in general?
Oh, plenty. Between breakdowns and flat tires. And
what has been the worst?
Probably when we were touring some dates with Powerman 5000.
Mm-hmm.
And we played a spectacular show in Indiana. It was almost 2,000 people there. It was a great night. We were so high off of it. And on the way to the next show, crossing a set of train tracks, the tongue of our trailer snapped in half.
Ooh.
Luckily, our booking agent at the time lived in the town we were playing that night and was able to get a hold of a couple minivans to come pick us up and get the gear there in time. But then we had to, after another great show, get back there, and we literally rigged up the trailer to get home with 2x4s and clamps and put the trailer tongue back together just to get back.
Well, at least it worked, I guess. How has the success of the band been received in your home state of Wisconsin?
Do you got enough tape for this? We're received well by the fans in Wisconsin. We don't really consider ourselves a part of the scene, mainly Milwaukee, where we're based out of. Just a lot of issues and drama there that doesn't need to be, and excuse me, we've become, a target for hatred. I don't know why. So there's not really a lot of camaraderie in the scene. We consider our scene the whole country because we don't play local shows. We don't do one-offs, unless it's for a special event.
Right.
If we're out playing shows, it's usually for weeks at a time, and so the U.S. is our local area. I wish it was different. I wish the scenes were more unified and we could actually start building stuff again, but I don't see it happening anytime soon.
Now, getting back to the topic of live shows, If you could design the ultimate live show, what would that entail if cost was not an issue?
If cost was not an issue, I would be the most eccentric. There would be interactive stages and 3D shows and all kinds of stuff going on with us. But I'd like to get back to...
Would you have holographic
if I could.
Tupac there?
If I could, I would have holograms of us on stage before we even got out there. And I would have holographic stage dancers. And but right now we started getting into the video last year, or I guess it's about a year and a half now. Mm-hmm. And I really like the way that works. So we're going to be, after the upcoming tour, we're going to take some time and actually film a lot of stuff for the live show and make it more cohesive to the live show so that it's a bit more interactive, so it feels like it's just a part of the show with us. Like, for example, I plan to do an animated version of me for the vocoded effects, so that comes up on screen during the vocoded parts that I don't do live.
Right.
So it'll be kind of like I can turn and look at the screen, interact with myself kind of thing.
That's pretty cool.
We want to add a few more video screens than just the one. We want to add more new lighting. Mm-hmm. We really just want to bring it back to what we were doing years ago and making it a show for everyone. We want it to be something that they tell their friends about, that says you have to get back out and see a live show again.
Right.
Because shoegazing's not going to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a lot of what's missing from the live scene these days, is it's just they go up there and they just play and that's it.
Yeah. And I can't stand it. If I pay money for a show, give me a show.
Yeah, exactly. It should be a show.
Yep.
What have been some of the changes you've observed in the electronic instruments and software over the years since you formed the band?
Well, there's been plenty of them, but I can say I'm an old school kind of guy. I'm an old biddy. I tend to stay away from the new, like the VSTs and soft synths and that. Mm-hmm. I love my hardware synths. I have a few favorites that I go to all the time. I'm starting to play around a little bit with the soft synths just to see what the buzz is all about. But honestly, I think it's nice that it makes it easier, but I think it makes it too easy for some people as well. Mm-hmm. I see a lot of people just buying programs now and calling themselves musicians, so that I see as a downfall to it.
Right.
But I really like my hard synths, so as long as I can tweak knobs and hit keys, I'm happy.
That works. Now, what have been some of the pressures associated with touring while maintaining a family?
That's I got very lucky. I have a very, very supportive wife who allows me to do this and pushes me forward on this, and she is the rock that keeps us going at home, mm-hmm. especially with having a daughter, and we've made it work. I think my being away a lot also keeps us from getting sick of each other. Right. So we're happier to see each other after we've been together for 15 years, and but I mean, it is hard. I see it as I get older. I still love the road, but it's harder to leave home each time. I have a lot of animals, and I love my animals as much. They're my children too, and I find it harder to leave them, especially when some of them are getting up there in years. And I don't know if I'm going to get that phone call that I lost my favorite cat or something. So I mean that, but we've made it work pretty well. I'm lucky. Yeah. I think most people wish they had as supportive a band wife as I do.
Well, that's good.
And she's also part of the girls that you see in our videos and all that, so she works with us too.
Yeah. Now, speaking of videos, you put out 2 DVDs so far. How do you think the DVDs have helped get the band's name out?
I think the fact that we're a visual band live, that aspect lets, when they buy a CD and they get the DVD too, they get to see what we're really like. I mean, when you're listening to a CD, you're just hearing the music, which is fine because the mm-hmm. music should speak for itself. Sure. But when image is part of it, you want them to be able to see it at any time they want. Some people don't get to go to shows. We don't play everywhere. Right. And it also, we like to give them a good look into touring life because everyone thinks it's just this big glamorous life. So we like to show them that we're just a bunch of normal jackasses and we have fun and we get on each other's nerves, and half the time we live in the van just because it's cheaper, and we're fine with that. Yeah. We've learned to utilize truck stops and Walmart parking lots, and we have a very big, nice, comfy van with everything we need in it. So as long as we can find showers, we're good. And
do you have any plans to release any more DVDs anytime soon?
Yes, we do. We're actually finishing up the new Afterglow EP right now, which will include a DVD along with it. It'll be a dual disc set, and it'll have the first video from the new album with a lot of behind the scenes stuff, documentary type stuff. Just a little bonus for everyone to get with the CD, so we can, instead of, we haven't really built up enough video footage since the last full DVD to release another major one or full one.
Right.
So we figure this is a good way to keep the DVDs going, and I'd like to honestly release a DVD every year, whether it be with a new album or just on its own, just because we really like doing that, and
Sure.
it seems to be really popular with people, and we sell a lot of them. So.
Yeah, well, that's good. It makes a nice little bonus for people to buy the physical disc rather than go to iTunes or whatever.
Exactly.
So.
And hopefully that helps. Yeah, I
Yeah.
still love physical CDs more than digital. So.
Were there any significant experiences in your life that led to you pursuing music in the first place?
I don't know if it was a particular thing. I've been doing this in some sort form since I was really little.
Mm-hmm.
I had a stepmother growing up who encouraged music a lot in me. Not so much instruments, but I have been singing since I was about 6, pretty consistently, whether it be school functions or whatnot. And I got into making my own music probably around 8 or 9 when my best friend growing up and I would just record stupid things.
Right.
And then we would multi-track using dual cassette boom boxes and stuff. And I think that's what got me more into the electronic element there, was that. And I never really looked at music as I want to go out and be a rock star and be in a band. I just wanted to make noise and make music. But I guess there was the one moment that made me want to be a rock star, and that was actually Slash at Guns N' Roses. I was just watching one of their performances, and it was he got up on the piano during November Rain. It was just one of those, wow, he's cool. It's like, I wouldn't mind doing that. And it's funny because I'm in an electronic band,
Yeah.
but one of the guy that sparked my live interest was Slash of Guns N' Roses.
I think Slash probably makes a lot of people want to be rock stars.
He's pretty cool.
Yeah,
And
or at least did. I don't know anymore. I don't know what kids like. I'm old.
I don't know, I read his book. He's a pretty cool guy,
Yeah.
from what it seems. But yeah, that'd probably be the moment where I actually said, yeah, I want to do this live. And ever since then, I mean, I've been doing music in a band pretty much constantly since I was about 16.
Mm-hmm.
So 20 years now. And Cynergy's 12 now.
Right.
And so, yeah, it's from teenage years on, it's been constant. It's been the obsession, the goal, the ambition, the drive, the life eater. So, but I love it. But no, I wouldn't change it for the world. I'll do this until I just can't anymore.
Okay. And last question. If you could live in any time period, what would it be?
Everyone's going to expect me to say this, so the 80s. I think I was born a few years too late. I think I would have been perfect in the new wave era.
Yeah.
I'm still a huge fan of it. I don't know. I'm getting up there in the years, so people probably say, "Oh, you're just stuck in the stuff you grew up in." I saw it to be a really good time in music, and,
Right.
and the 80s and 90s were probably the best times in music. But I still can listen to all that old stuff and go, "Yeah, it was innovative. It was synthesizers were fairly new, and they were the new thing." And that's where I found I didn't have a lot of technical skills on instruments.
Right.
My left hand is very uncooperative when it comes to guitar and piano and such. So when I found synthesizers, that was my expression, my voice out. And so I think that the two just go together.
Yeah. And I know you love the fashion too.
Sometimes. I probably would wear the pirate shirts. No.
All right. Well, thank you very much for the interview.
Thank you.